Last time we were talking about business activities, types of business, no, this time we're talking about forms of business activities. Last time we were talking about why some business activities might occur, what businesses might do depending on their goals, their objectives, so on and so forth. But now we're going to talk about what some businesses are as a whole, and we'll also be touching what the difference between a business and a company is. So the first, there are actually 5 types of businesses. All right, the 5 main types of businesses are the sole trader, which is also a sole proprietor, the partnership, a public limited company, a private limited company, and a cooperative. All right. Now, before I get into the next 2, 3, the first 2 are sole traders and partnerships. The reason why they're on the board together is because they have similar properties, similar characteristics as well. Now, a sole trader is basically when there's only one owner and there's one operator, which means that whatever profits come from the business, they go straight to the owner and straight to the operator, whoever that might be. These businesses are smaller in scale. That means that, for example, it could be, like the doodwala across the road, or it could be a little convenience store in your area, so on and so forth. Now, also, setting up a sole trader or sole proprietor, in other words, is actually pretty easy because there are fewer legal requirements. All you have to do is you go to the government, offices, you file your taxes, you file your company, and that's pretty much it. Nothing special, nothing specific required. But also one key characteristic of a sole trader is that they have unlimited liability. The reason why this is highlighted in red is because you need to remember what this means. Unlimited liabilities basically means that the company, the owner, has full responsibility for any losses or debts that might occur. If the company, say for example, owes someone money, if I start up my own business and I owe Faizan money and I've lost my business has gone bankrupt, I am responsible to still pay Faizan back even though my company has shut down. Alright, the next thing is that they have limited finances. That means that whatever savings I've had, whatever loans I've had to take up, they're of course going to be very limited because the business is on a smaller scale as well. So, limited finances. The next form of a business is a partnership. That means there's 2 to 20 people in this partnership and they come together via an agreement. They just make a document, they say these are the people in the business, this is what they're going to do, and so on and so forth. They sign an agreement that this is your responsibility, this is your responsibility, so on and so forth, and that's pretty much it. After that, they have more capital to invest because for you to be in a partnership, obviously you're going to cough up some dough, some cash as well, right? That means, of course, more than what a sole trader might have. Again, this also becomes easier for you to get a loan from a bank or for a loan from a buddy because there's more credibility, there's more people involved, and also that means there's a larger network of people to approach. After that, they have shared responsibilities. So let's say that Faizan and I have started a partnership with the tuition guys. My responsibilities are to shoot and edit these videos. Faizan's responsibility is to make sure that he's marketing, he's getting the word out, and also that he takes care of the running costs of the business, right? That means that me and Faizan both are going to be pumped up even more to make more profits because the harder we work, the more effort we put in, the more profit we might make. Again, now they also have unlimited liabilities, so that means that if say tuition guys shut down, God forbid, that should never happen, but and whoever we've taken money from to set this up, we're still accountable for that, we have to pay them up from our own pockets. Uncorporated as well. That means that the business has no legal identity. If the business shuts down, the business will shut down, if, for example, say one of the partners passes away. One of these 2 to 20 partners, if they pass away, the business will shut down because they have no legal identity. Take a screenshot of this before we go on to the next one. Alright, now after those 2, we have private limited company and public limited companies. Now, key difference, we're talking about companies now. Companies basically are a separate legal identity, which means that they are incorporated. Before we had unincorporated, now we have incorporated, which means that if anything happens to one of the owners or the partners or something like that, then the business will not shut down, it will continue to function, and the same applies here. Now you might say that well, some partnerships can continue to function, and that's only if they are registered as limited liability partnerships as well. Those are called LLPs. Alright, but we're not talking about that. Now we're talking about private limited companies. Private companies, first point, separate legal identity because they're a company now. Next point, they can make contracts, they can make legal agreements between who's there, who's not there, and also, just like a partnership, there are many individuals involved, but now those individuals are called shareholders. Shareholders are people who are going to invest money into the company as a whole, and that is open to anyone and everyone. It's not listed on the stock exchange. It's not there for people like you and I to be going and buying a share one day and selling it the next day, but it's open to a group of people or any people who are within a certain social network, and that's how the business is going to start. Now there's joint ownership. I mentioned that the investors, so the shareholders will be entitled to some profit that comes from the company. Shareholders have limited liabilities as well. If the business goes bankrupt and I happen to have a share of that company, no one can come and do anything to me. I am safe completely. Also, the legal requirements are pretty complicated over here. Now, bear in mind that the legal requirements over here for a private limited company also hold for a public limited company. Firstly, the company is going to have to go to the registrar of companies to go and tell them, hey guys, here's a company for you that we want to register. You need to submit 2 documents. The first document is the Articles of Association, which basically mentions how the business is going to function, how it's going to run. The next is going to be the Memorandum of Association, which basically will break down who the shareholders are, what they do, what is their background, what is their role in the business now, what are their financials like. Now, before I even explain what happens in a public limited company, when you want to make a private limited company into a public limited company, you will go back to the registrar of companies and hand them a letter saying that, guys, I think we're ready to grow and bigger. So that's when you become a public limited company. So the difference is that from private limited, you become public limited. You have to go to the registrar of companies and tell them that, guys, this is what we want to do. Now, the shares are listed on the stock exchange. That means that bits and pieces of the ownership of the company are now open to everyone. But that's a complicated process which you don't need to get into. But you do need to understand that there's a process called underwriting. Underwriting is when you go to an investment bank and they will value what each share, what each portion of your company is worth, and then they give you a price for that, and that's on what you will sell your shares to people in general. Now, shares are listed on the stock exchange as mentioned, and shareholders are there to appoint the directors. Because there's so many shareholders, you can't possibly have all those shareholders run the business. So what they do is they appoint directors who then run the business for them. And also what happens is that these directors and shareholders might have a clash of objectives. The shareholders might want profits, they might want to get their dividends, they might want to get their returns, but the directors might not want that because they want the company to grow as a whole. They are there to take care of the business for you. Right, take a screenshot of this real quickly and we'll be back with a couple of more. Alright, now the last main form of a business is a cooperative. Now these cooperatives basically is when members pool their resources together and they start working together, they take care of the workload all together, and that means that profits are shared equally. But that's not it. There are other forms of businesses as well. One form is a joint venture when 2 companies might come together and they actually join their resources as well, and they start off a new company and so on and so forth. But again, those are when 2 major groups are coming together. The next is a franchise. Now a franchise would be where I'm basically buying a part of the company to set it up somewhere else. Like McDonald's is franchise. So what happens is that if I want a McDonald's and if I want to own a McDonald's, I can't really own McDonald's as a whole. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to the head office and I'll tell them, hey buddy, I want a share. I want my own restaurant as well. They'll say, okay, this is our franchise fee. So basically you're paying to get that name, that recipe, that menu, everything that they own over here, and then you distribute the profits. They'll tell you, okay, you can keep 60%, we're going to keep 40% of the profits. The next form is a public corporations. Now, public corporations are basically there, even though it says public and corporations. Now, remember, these are there for these are there for like major industries in the country which cannot be left to the private individuals. What happens is the government might do something called privatize or nationalize, and that basically means is that if they get a company, like let's say that the electric supply of Karachi is in the private individual's hand, right? K Electric was owned by the Abraj group and now it's sold back, but what they did was the government bought back K Electric, it was nationalized. That means that it's in the hands of the government now, but the government can't run it. So what they're going to do is they're going to appoint some directors again to make sure that firstly it's running efficiently, costs are low, everyone has the service, and also that everyone is employed also. There's job security as well. And the last form is a municipal enterprise, not municipal, municipal. All right, municipal enterprise is when the local government body, like let's say the mayor of Karachi appoints, say, like the bus industry of Karachi to someone, and they take care of that service. Again, these are small, these are relatively smaller groups taking care of the services within that vicinity, within that area. Hope that made sense. Next week, there's some more content coming again. So stay tuned for that. Peace out.